Tomorrow is Liberation Day, America, and it's no ordinary holiday. President Trump is about to sign a game-changing executive order unleashing a global tariff revolution that will shatter decades of economic servitude. The globalist parasites are already panicking, with foreign economic groups launching coordinated campaigns against Trump's plan. But the president isn't backing down. Israel has already eliminated tariffs on American goods, folding before Trump's pen even hits the paper. Redland Cotton founder Mark Yeager confirms that we've known all along the rates we pay to send product to China or India, astronomical. Secretary Wright's prediction: tariffs on U.S. exports will come down across the world, lower energy prices, more investment, more jobs for Americans. This is economic warfare, and America is finally winning. And just as President Trump is liberating America from economic pain with his tariff revolution, you deserve liberation from your physical pain. As our nation breaks free from unfair trade deals, it's time for you to break free from daily suffering with 100% drug-free Conolidine. Like Trump's tariffs targeting economic imbalances, Conolidine targets pain at its source by activating your body's natural painkillers. While foreign nations have exploited American markets, Big Pharma has exploited Americans with addictive painkillers. But Conolidine offers a true revolution in pain relief. Over 1 million Americans, including professional athletes and UFC fighters, have already embraced this liberation. Visit trycono.com/NNN before midnight for a special discount and experience your own Liberation Day from pain. It's trycono.com/NNN. Okay, we've got some big news coming directly from the White House. This is Tom McCullough on the scene. The Trump tariff blitz, Liberation Day is imminent.
Loyal patriots out. Hey, hello from the White House. This is Tom McCullough filling in this week for Gary Franchi, bringing you all the live reporting straight from the heart of Washington, D.C. And we're thrilled just to be here delivering the latest updates for all of you loyal patriots out there. And first off, a huge thank you for everyone following the Next News Network. Your support keeps us going strong. And if you love what we're doing, please share our coverage with your friends. Hit the subscribe button, share, text everybody, do whatever you can. We literally cannot do this without you. We're building a movement, and we need you with us every single step of the way. Now, this week, let's talk about what's cooking, because it's going to be a huge week here at the White House, especially for the Trump administration. President Trump is gearing up for some major moves that have everyone buzzing. Word is he's set to roll out his next wave of tariffs, otherwise known as Liberation Day, is what he's calling it. April 2nd, not April Fool's Day. And we're talking reciprocal taxes that could shake up the trade and put America first like never before. And that's not all. Rumors are swirling that Trump might draw some surprises, maybe even hinting at some long-term plans to keep America winning for the American people. We got to get rid of these fake news guys. The man is a powerhouse, he's unstoppable, and the deep state is sweating. So is the fake news. We'll be here covering it all day, every tariff announcement, every bold statement, every moment that makes the left side squirm. You won't miss a thing with the Next News Network on the case. And again, from the White House lawn to your screen, we're bringing you the unfiltered truth. So stick with us, share the word, and let's keep pushing forward. Again, this is Tom McCullough, signing off for right now. We got a big day of news, and we got a huge week of news. So stay tuned and keep sharing everything you can, guys.
Tom McCullough right there at the White House. And here is, let's see, we've got John Fredericks explaining exactly how tariffs work and why Trump is a genius.
Said, this is what I don't understand. The reciprocal tariffs going into place April 2nd, which means if you're tariffing our cars 100%, we're going to tariff your cars 100%. Well, you're already selling the cars in the United States, or whatever the product may be, French wine or whatever, Grey Goose vodka like I drink, right? That comes from France. That's going to go. So what France has to do is they have to take all their tariffs off on us. So there's no change in prices. The only change is we get now an opportunity to export our manufactured goods into France and Europe and other countries because this is not a punitive tariff. This is meant to eliminate the tariffs on our goods going in. This is why these brain-dead liberals and Republicans don't even understand what this means. It is so infuriating for a protectionist like me that has studied this my whole life, that understands it, to hear the dribble that's going on television. You heard it last night with Laura Ingraham badgering President Trump over this. Like, you don't have a clue, Laura. You have no understanding of what a tariff is and the purpose of it is. and why it didn't raise prices the last time, and it's not going to raise prices again. What it's going to do is get our manufacturing back in. People start opening up plants over and over time. We get our sovereignty back, and we create better jobs, better paying jobs, so people can actually buy the goods. Or the reciprocal tariffs are designed to eliminate tariffs. Because if you're France, let's just take an example. This is how stupid this is. If you're France and you're exporting Grey Goose vodka into the United States, I'm using that example because that's my vodka of choice when it's available. You're exporting Grey Goose, and people like me are buying it, and there's no tariff on it, so it's whatever it is, $35, right? We try to export Tito's, American-made vodka, made for potatoes. Not my choice. I don't touch it. I like vodka made from wheat, but that's my choice. A lot of people drink Tito's, right? So the U.S. wants to, the manufacturers of Tito's, they want to export their vodka into France and European countries. Well, there's a 100% tariff on that. So it becomes price prohibitive. You're not going to pay double for Tito's in France what you could pay for Grey Goose, which to me happens to be better, but you're not going to do that. So the manufacturing doesn't happen. The Grey Goose doesn't get there. Does that make sense? Now, if you put a reciprocal tariff on there, all of a sudden, I'm not going to buy Grey Goose at $70. I buy it at $35. I'm not going to buy it at $70. I'm going to switch over to a U.S.-made vodka if they keep the tariff. So then their sales collapse. Just follow me on this. So the France sales collapse. So what is France going to do? They have two choices, right? Raise the tariff more on Tito's, which they would never do. That makes no sense. Or they'll eliminate their tariff on U.S. vodka going in there to zero, and then our tariff on French vodka, Grey Goose, would go down to zero. So it's zero now. It stays at zero. The 100% tariff on our manufactured goods exported to France, which was 100%, goes to zero. The makers of Tito's now have a new market to export their product to, which is now could be purchased by French or European buyers, which then creates more jobs making Tito's vodka. This is what they're meant to do. And the fact that these gangster bankers on Wall Street and bedwetters can't understand this, and shame on Laura Ingraham last night, who doesn't have a freaking clue about what is going on, badgering the president on this, was absolutely unbelievable.
You know, this is exactly what I said in a previous report. You know, I'm not an economist. You know, I'm a reporter. I'm a commentator. You know, it's very simple economics. Okay, it's very basic, reciprocal trade. Okay, and dude, he laid it out perfectly. So it's not rocket science. They're going to open up the global market for all kinds of American products. Reciprocal trade is going to be the great equalizer. That's why it's Liberation Day, because finally American products will be able to be distributed worldwide without having the threat of tariffs from other countries. They're tariffing the crap out of all of our stuff. Right? It's time for equalization and liberation, and that's why it's so important. Let's keep going.
This is what I don't.
Let's keep going here. This is Tom just a couple hours ago. Israel dropping all tariffs on our goods.
Log just 7,000. Hey guys, this is Tom McCullough reporting from the White House with the Next News Network. And check this out. All of today's headlines are wins so far here at the White House. I'm going to be talking with you through every single one. So let's go ahead and get started. So first up, Israel. And as of today, April 1st, they've wiped out every single tariff on American goods. That's it. Gone. For years, other countries slapped these on our exports while we just played nice. That's over. Trump's fair trade push is getting results. Israel's stepping up, saying, "We've got your back, America." That means cheaper goods for them, more jobs for us. It's a total win. So now let's talk about borders. Governor Christie Noem celebrating under Trump. Our southern border is locked down. Border Patrol logged just 7,181 encounters in March. Under Biden, 160,000 a month. It's absolute, utter insanity. Former ICE Director Tom Homan had a message for the agents making it happen. Let's go ahead and check this out.
The Rochester Police Department is under a lot of scrutiny because they got an officer assist call from ICE, and they showed up for the call. This is what their union is saying, Tom. Let's watch it.
Our policy is also to back up other officers who need help. We report on this all the time about an officer killed during a traffic stop. It is one of the most dangerous times for an officer to have. You have a vehicle that the occupants are refusing to get out. It was a van. Turns out there was 8 people in that van, and our officers did an excellent job of de-escalating that situation.
Tom, aren't you proud of those law enforcement officers for doing their job, answering the call?
That's they did, yeah, absolutely. And I met some of those officers at a law enforcement rally down in Tennessee, and I told them I'm coming to Rochester. I promised them I'd come to Rochester and address the issue. Now, I have been told just recently that the leadership at Border Patrol and HSI have met with the chief. And
so that was Tom at the White House breaking it down for us. We have some more on the tariffs. Oh, wait, Canada. Okay, see, this is more of the conversation about milk I was talking about in the previous report. Holy moly, those tariffs. Oh, wait, that's Canada. No one other than Trump's stuck up for America. Watch this.
Actually, tariffs that, would you believe these insane tariffs that the U.S. is bullying Canada with? 250% for milk, 291% for butter, 208% for whey, 241% for cheese. How could we do this to our neighbor? Oh, wait, those are actually tariffs that Canada imposed on the U.S. last year. Whereas for the same goods, we imposed the following tariffs: 10% for cheese, 10% for butter, 5% for milk, 0% for whey. It's interesting that since Trump announced tariffs, everyone became an econ PhD who's confident that they know exactly what tariffs will do to the economy. But while you've seen Trump fighting for tariffs, you haven't seen that before no one was fighting for us at all on the global scale. Now, how are tariffs going to affect the whole economy over the next year? I don't know. And no one else does either. But I do know that tariffs got Apple to build a new factory and hire 20,000 more Americans. I do know that the word is that Honda is building 210,000 of their next Honda Civics here in America instead of Mexico and giving Americans jobs. I do know that Taiwan Semiconductor announced that they're going to invest $100 billion to build up 5 new chip factories in the U.S., creating yet more jobs. I do know that tariffs are being used to pressure China, Mexico, and to a lesser extent, Canada, to stop the flow of fentanyl over our border and killing 70,000 Americans a year. Now, here's the thing with tariffs. They're one tactic in an economic strategy, and there are all sorts of ways that tactic can get used. Sometimes they get deployed for short term, sometimes long term, sometimes they're actually used, and sometimes the threat of them gets used. Sometimes they're used to threaten Russia to end the war. Sometimes they're used to generate revenue from other countries so we don't need to tax our citizens so much. Sometimes they're used so that we support farmers. Sometimes they drive prices up, but wages up too. Is this all making your head spin? Yeah, me too. Because there's a lot to consider. Macroeconomics are complicated, and it takes time to play out. Rather than focusing on every move on the chessboard, we need to all zoom out and ask ourselves, do I think my president wants America to win? Am I listening to people who want my president to fail so that they're proven right, even if that means America goes wrong? Am I willing to tolerate short-term disruption for long-term gain? Look, no one should have blind faith in any leader, but blind negativity just hurts everyone, you included. And remember, if you can't make a strong argument for the opposition against your side, then you're not seeking the truth.
Oh, wow. That was deep, man. Well said, though. 100%. Let's go and take a look at what the press secretary said about 6 hours ago about April 2nd going down as one of the most important days in American history.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, April 2nd, 2025, will go down as one of the most important days in modern American history. Our country has been one of the most open economies in the world, and we have the consumer base hands down, the best consumer base. But too many foreign countries have their markets closed to our exports. This is fundamentally unfair. The lack of reciprocity contributes to our large and persistent annual trade deficit that's gutted our industries and hollowed out key workforces. But those days of America, beginning tomorrow, being ripped off are over. American workers and businesses will be put first under President Trump, just as he promised on the campaign trail. The president's historic action tomorrow will improve American competitiveness in every area of industry, reduce our massive trade deficits, and ultimately protect our economic and national security. President Trump's economic vision is rooted in common sense. America will offer companies the lowest taxes, energy costs, regulations, if they make their products right here in the United States and hire American workers for the job. It's simple. If you make your product in America, you will pay no tariffs. We have already seen a number of the largest companies in the world respond to this economic approach. For example, Project Stargate, led by Japan-based SoftBank and US-based OpenAI and Oracle, announced a $500 billion private investment in the United States-based artificial intelligence infrastructure. Apple announced a $500 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing and training. NVIDIA announced it will invest hundreds of billions of dollars over the next 4 years in U.S.-based manufacturing. And the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company TSMC announced a $100 billion investment in U.S.-based chips and manufacturing. These are just a few of the investment announcements that have already been made, and it is clear that President Trump's America First approach is already working. Looking ahead to tomorrow, April 2nd, 2025, will go down.
And it's going to be a historic day, and I am here for it. Let's keep going. We've got some more to talk about on this. Here's Brian Glenn at the White House talking about the executive order signing today with Steve Bannon.
We need to hear from President Trump. He did it on the plane yesterday, but we need him in the Oval, taking 5 or 10 minutes, walking through the EO, I think, my recommendation, and then, hey, take all comers. Let the questions flow. Brian Glenn, the pressure on the White House today is a pressure cooker because global markets are on fire right now, sir.
Yeah, and you know what? The timing of this executive order at 5:30, if indeed that's what it is obviously after the market. So we'll give a day for the markets to kind of have that anxiety. What's really interesting, it's been a relatively slow day along Pebble Beach here in front of the White House press-wise. I have seen very little. Normally, where we stand for the War Room hits, there's a lot of journalists around here doing their stand-ups. That has probably been pushed to later this afternoon. Now, I will say this. I have noticed a lot of activity coming in out of the Roosevelt building here, a lot of cars calling up. So, as you said earlier, I would imagine the revolving door in the Oval Office to meet with President Trump, and the phone has probably been pretty active today, as every global leader, every CEO, any kind of market analysts have been really wanting to weigh in on this. And I noticed kind of a nationwide campaign, if you will, Steve, of billboards that are slamming tariffs, and they're all over the South. I noticed here on bus bench, digital billboards here in D.C. as well. They're trying to push this, big time, and it's sponsored by Canada. On the bottom of it, it's a Canadian economic group there. Just a mass public relations role on this to basically smear what he's going to do later at 5:30. I think you have an eye-opener on India and Canada and many other nations, but it's more than just Canada. You've got the entire neoliberal order that is all, they're freaking out because they're freaking out seeing how corporate America is responding to this about bringing jobs back.
Well, because it's going to equalize the entire marketplace. They won't be able to control the commerce when it's all equalized. And then because of the reciprocal tariffs is what is going to equalize everything. When you have unfair tariffs, it creates an unfair marketplace. Here's more on the Liberation Day.
The number one holder. Liberation Day is almost upon us. And in case you don't know what that means, allow me to be the one to tell you. Liberation Day starts on April 2nd, once all the tariffs go into full effect, to get our jobs back that were stolen from us from the likes of Bill Clinton and all those who supported and passed NAFTA in the 90s. Because what it did was it took away all of the wealth from the middle class, which was the number one holder of the wealth in the country at the time. The middle class, the hardworking manufacturing sector. And it displaced that wealth, took it offshore, reduced the wages of the people that they employed, and profits all went to the shareholders and the powers that would be, the president and the politicians on down. Period. Straight thievery. Even Donald Trump has gone as far as to say as much. Not only did it rob the American people and take away the American spirit and the drive, the determination, but the capability to manufacture and provide for ourselves, but it also just enriched the people on the left, the woke, the ideologists, and it emboldened this globalist ideology that you have now seen span across the globe. Take over country after country, ally after ally, to where they're no longer even reminiscent of one another. Upside down will become the new norm. And so because we want our jobs back and we don't want to give our hard-earned money anymore, we don't want to go to war, and we don't want to provide our military, we're the problem and we're the bad guys. Our president got into office and had to pardon Christians that were being persecuted here in America. Our vice president then had to go overseas and tell them, hey, look, the enemy's from within and you're persecuting Christians in your own countries. We had to go as far as to even make our own social networking platforms like Truth Social, and billionaires had to buy the likes of Twitter in order to give us a voice because we were censored. But none of it makes sense to nobody except for those of us that it makes sense to, because so many people got so stuck in this world of this old adage. Now reality's normal and back to common sense. The basics are here. And when I talk about Liberation Day, or Trump talks about Liberation Day, just a few minutes ago on the news, he was talking about how he doesn't care how much fucking cars are going to cost. Good. Because nobody gave a fuck about how many jobs we lost and how much money that our families bled, how much they had to drain out of their own equities of their homes for years and years. And all of a sudden you want me to have compassion in my heart for my neighbors to the north or my neighbors to the south? No. We're getting rid of socialism. We're cutting all these jobs at the federal level. We're going to displace those people, give them viable positions, and these companies will come back. Why will they come back? Because they're making our products, in some cases, for more. Minimum wage in Canada, $17.50 an hour. That's more than an entry-level position for GM or Ford here in America. And down south, beyond the border in Mexico, the federal tax there for our corporations is 30%. So once these taxes get revised, the $4 trillion in tax cuts go into place, Americans can get those jobs back. Recirculable, compounding cash flow. And I'm going to tell you right now, all these naysayers that don't understand how it works, I lived it. Within 3 years' time, if not sooner, you'll start to see and feel the difference in the almighty American economy.
Oh, dude, that guy was on point. Straight up on point. Here's more. This is the document, Israel eliminating tariffs on American goods, reciprocal trade in action, right here, the official document that Tom was talking about. Here's Redland Cotton founder Mark Yeager, who said, I think tariffs could help.
Made in America. This is a really interesting perspective, Sandra. I want you to take a look at what's happening behind me, because this is part of a 100% made in America process here at Redland Cotton. The farm here grows the cotton. They mill fabric across the United States. And then these seamstresses are literally cutting and sewing bed linens right here in what they call the cut and sew. This is all part of the vision of Mark Yeager, who is the co-founder of Redland Cotton here in Moulton, Alabama. And Mark, you say that tariffs could actually help your business here in Alabama. Why?
I think tariffs could help. I think we've got nothing to lose by trying them, especially in textiles. If you look at the rates that it would cost us to send our product to China, India, it's astronomical. So the reciprocal thing, I think it could help. I think it could supercharge our industry, more mills in the supply chain, more finishers, right, the whole thing, and make something like this a whole lot more feasible.
This is a really interesting perspective, Sandra. I want you to take a look at what's happening behind me, because this is part of a 100% made in America process here at Redland Cotton. The farm here grows the cotton. They mill fabric across.
Tariffs are going to make America great again. Liberation Day beginning tomorrow. Here's more. Rapid Response 47. Secretary Wright on the tariffs.
Come down. Oh, Stu, I don't think we're going to see energy prices rise. They've already come down in response to President Trump's actions, just his messaging on marketplaces. What you're going to see is tariffs on U.S. exports come down across the world. President Trump's message has been free and fair trade, reciprocal trade. I'm talking to foreign leaders all the time, and they want two key things. They want to buy more American products. I'm talking to them mostly about energy, and they want to invest more dollars in the United States. We've got to remember, this president was elected to lower energy prices. He's been at work on that every single day. And of course, I'm working together with him on it. I'm actually super optimistic about where we're going. We're going to have lower energy prices. more investment in this country, more jobs for Americans. And Trump's central premise was that low-cost energy was good for American citizens, it was good for American security, it was good for America standing abroad, and he is full steam ahead on that agenda. Oh, Stu,
Let's
I don't
go,
think
baby.
we're going to see
full steam ahead indeed. Here's more. Let's take a look at what is Mr. Wonderful have to say. I love this guy.
Long view.
On
You're
CNN.
saying, hey, let's take the long view, and this is how it's all going to play out. Okay, but why not be intellectually honest about who then is paying the price in at least the short term?
Well, if they have to, in the short term, in the weeks ahead, raise their prices, go ahead, do that. That's very inflationary. I doubt they will. They will be like everybody else. I understand the hysteria. I understand the gnashing of teeth. I understand the uncomfort. And everybody's focusing on this because we're watching sausage being made. We have never imposed tariffs on every country all at the same time. Never been done. Now, you may not like that. That's Trump's style. A lot of people don't like his style. But I don't focus on the noise. I focus on the signal. The signal is we're going to work this out as fast as we can, and we're just negotiating. Now, if you really think that the administration can't wait for hyperinflation and they want to do this intentionally, that's not economic. That's not a sound mind, and they are not dumb. This will get worked out. But I'm just trying to bring some caution into this narrative, saying this is how you negotiate. When I negotiate to buy a plant, I don't go tell them what a great plant it is. I find all kinds of faults with it to tell them why they got to cut the price in half. And then I settle on whatever I can get, maybe a 20% discount. That's exactly what's happening here.
If you're saying, hey, let's take the long view, and this is how it's all going to play out, okay, but why not be intellectually honest about who then is paying the price in at least the short term?
Well, if they have to, in the short term, in the weeks ahead, raise their prices, go ahead, do that. That's very inflationary. I doubt they will. They will be like everybody else. I understand the hysteria. I understand the gnashing of teeth. I understand the uncomfort. And everybody's focusing on this because we're watching sausage being made.
Yep, that's the sound of sausage being made. Everyone's screaming about it, but don't worry, folks. It's all going to work out just fine. Here's Stephen Miller.
Isn't it amazing, Sean? Isn't it amazing, Sean? Think about this. The American defense umbrella, paid for by American taxpayers, single-handedly keeps Canada safe and Europe safe and NATO safe. It's all us, Sean. Without us, these countries have no security net whatsoever. And instead of paying for their own defense, what do with our largesse? They use the money they've saved to expand the social safety net for our citizens. Then it gets worse. Then they use price controls to artificially lower the price of drugs that they import, forcing Americans to pay higher prices. They abuse our auto companies, they abuse our manufacturing, and they set unfair trade policies to keep our industries out of their countries while we keep them free, while we protect them from adversaries around the world. And Canada, for example, they charge what roughly amounts to a 15% VAT. We're supposed to be in a free trade deal with Canada. Why are they putting a VAT on every product that we send to Canada? Why are they locking out American agriculture products from their market with outrageously high tariffs? Why are they imposing a digital service tax on our tech industry? Why are they manipulating the supply chains to prevent American auto manufacturing facilities from being in the United States of America? So again, these countries that we are defending, that we are protecting, are taking advantage of us in every conceivable way. And Donald Trump is saying all those empty factories all across the United States, when you drive through the Rust Belt, you see them, all these hollowed out factories. We're going to bring them humming back to life by having low taxes here, by having...
Oh, man, it's about time. So this is economic D-Day. After decades of watching our factories shutter, our jobs disappear, and our communities collapse under the weight of globalist free trade fantasies, America's finally striking back. The global elite told us this couldn't be done, that tariffs were dangerous, that reciprocal trade was impossible, that America had to accept its economic decline. They were lying. Stephen Miller exposed the truth. NATO countries demand our military protection. while simultaneously slamming tariffs on American goods. It's not just hypocrisy, it's economic warfare against our nation. For half a century, we suffered under what Secretary Wright called rampant offshoring, outsourcing, and deindustrialization. But tomorrow, the tables turn. The predators become the prey. The exploiters become the exploited, and America reclaims its economic sovereignty one tariff at a time. So the controversial question remains. If just the threat of Trump's tariffs is already causing countries like Israel to eliminate theirs, doesn't this prove that America has been voluntarily surrendering its economic power for decades? Comment below. Make sure you check out our Next News swag at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. It's linked down below. Grab a hat, grab a shirt, and show the world you stand with the real news.